Okay, so yeah, now basically our goal is to implement the AR functionality, and we plan to do that by using the three main classes that Ar.js. Wait, hold on, let me make sure I'm recording because sometimes this thing be acting funky donkey. Okay, I'm recording. So we plan to use the three main classes that come with the Ar.js library. One is AR Toolkit source, which basically represents the source. The source. And what the source is basically an object that contains or provides the visual data, which serves as the background for the augmented reality experience per se. So the background is the where the 3D image gets overlaid. In our case, the background is going to be the camera feed, and the source is going to be the camera from the laptop or whatever machinery thinkity you're using. The other class is AR Toolkit Context, and this basically deals with the actual tracking of the marker and knowing where the marker is. And also the third class is AR Marker Controls, which controls the Three.js camera based off of marker position. All these classes kind of work tightly together, and I'm pretty sure some of the functionality overlaps. And the good thing is that we're not exposed too much to the functionality of these classes, so we just are concerned about actually making a 3D model. But there's still some kinks and things that are kind of weird with it. Like me, preferably, I'll just like to have a function and be on the go when I'm plug and chug. But either way, this is cool. So let's start implementing. We want to start it after, let's start it after here. So first we're going to want to, I just want to comment this to say AR code and AR code. So first we want to deal with the AR toolkit source, and really to do that we want to make a variable var AR toolkit source. I mean, the variable can be anything you want. Then we want it to equal new 3. So the class for AR.js is called 3.x. 3x. So I mean, I guess it's called a class, or module maybe. I actually don't know what it is, but it does have a class or an object and a class called what I just typed in, and it has one property which is called source type, and what it takes in is what is providing the visual background information. In our case, it's our camera, so we put in webcam. Okay, and then after that we want to initiate this thing, so AR toolkit source, and we do that by calling this initiate function. Yeah, it was never good at spelling initiate. And the initiate function takes in some type of already function, basically a function that runs during the initiation. Then think of it as like the code you add to a constructor. But there's not really anything I have in mind that I need, so I'm gonna leave it blank. You could try to resize the source itself by I'm not really sure how that affects the 3.js size, but you could try to use some resizing functionality once based off of the window size. But I'm good for that. I'm good on that. Yeah, so now we want to initiate initialize the AR toolkit context. So first we want to make that class as well. Context equals new and this takes in two properties. One is camera parameter URL, and what we want to put in here is basically the path to that camera parameter file that we downloaded before. So I believe it's called this. And then another property it takes in is the detection mode, which kind of describes what type of data this thing should be, what type of marker this object deals with, the actual marker tracking. So what type of marker should this thing look for? You can define a marker, like not just on the website I showed you guys, but using a matrix, a 2D matrix. But since we're using that website and it provides this that file that we downloaded before, we're just going to use the mono mode. There's more clarification on this on the documentation, because I know my explanation was, for lack of a better word, I don't know, I was trying to find something funny to say, but I gotta remind myself that I'm not funny. So detection mode. I don't know why are they highlighting this red. Oh yeah, comma. Don't forget your commas, guys. So yeah. And also, just like the other one, we want to initiate this. So and this also takes in a function, but this one is an onComplete function. Uncompleted, at least. Like I said, I keep saying this, but I know I'll be kind of like confused on what's going on. Like, why is this guy doing all this stuff? How does he know to put an all-completed function? But a lot of the information is on the examples that are in the repository. So, yeah. Anyway, so the uncompleted function is basically, based off of the name itself. It's the function that runs after this thing finishes, something finishes, which is probably this. And what we want is, well, at least based off the examples, we want the camera dot projection matrix to copy some information, and that information is going to be the argument we provide, and it's going to be the projection matrix from the AR context. Now, there's not really too much explanation on what this does, but based off the names, it seems as if we want to copy in information regarding the projection of maybe the 3D image, because a projection matrix is basically transforming one in a sense it's transversing from one vector space to another, but there's like more specific criteria that makes it a projection. But like basically, like for instance, you're going from the 3D space to 2D space. Yeah, so one of the elements in the vector gets set. So that's probably what this thing is all about. And they want to copy maybe the projection matrix made in the AR toolkit into the camera. So yeah, well, that makes sense, because this thing is essentially supposed to take control of the Three.js camera. So, but yeah, this is kind of one of the kinks that I don't really like about AR.js. The stuff is a little bit exposed, and it's like, why, like for instance, the user shouldn't have to write this. I mean, I may not know enough about the library, but I don't think the user of the library needs to write this. It should be a given that somebody wants to do AR stuff wants to do that. So, but I don't know, maybe I'm just sounding like a bum. If someone has an explanation that they can tell me, because I didn't read everything. I was just like, okie dokie. So yeah, anyway, so that's the second class we need to make. And then the third class we need to initialize is AR marker controls, which, as I said before, kind of also helps with detection. And yeah, so helps with detection. And it did something else too that oh yeah, and camera control. Yeah, I was like, there's something important about it. So we can call it marking controls. Literally, a lot of this is just stolen from the example. So why is his name so unoriginal? So this thing takes in one, the AR toolkit context. So we just provide the one we made. It takes in the Three.js camera. So, and it also takes in an object that kind of describes kind of the pattern type that this thing needs to detect. The whole AR system needs to detect. Because the context deals with it, and then this thing deals with it too. So I'm just calling the whole system. The whole system deals with detection of the pattern. So yeah. And what does this object type takes? It takes one. What type of object is it? So it's a like what type of detection? What are we detecting? I'm detecting a pattern based off of the pattern file we created. Where's the pattern URL? It's what we downloaded that time. The marker, not marker website. I hope you guys know what I'm talking about. And I gotta put my commas. And then something called change matrix mode. And I don't know what that is, to be honest, but the example sets it as camera transformation matrix. Well, yeah, so that's mainly the machinery for the AR code. Okay, so now we got the augmented reality machinery set up. We kind of want to add some code that deals with in a sense the animation for the augmented reality, but it's not necessarily animation. It's more of just updating the augmented reality data every frame. So in order to do that, we're gonna come over here, and one thing is to kind of tell the code if the toolkit, if the AR toolkit source, which is basically, you could just think of it as the webcam. If the webcam is if it's not ready, then return false, which basically means that just leave this animation function. But if it's true, then well, don't leave it. So, and I'm not sure how necessary this thing is, but it was definitely in the example. So yeah, that's essentially what it's saying. If it's not ready, false. And then another thing we want to do is tell the AR toolkit, well, just the AR machinery, to update the basically the render based off of new AR information. So like if the position of the marker moves, or we move relative to the marker, we want to make that reflect on the renderer. So in order to do that, we're going to use an update function, and what we're updating is an AR toolkit source dot DOM element. And another thing we want to do is basically tell our program, well, okay, if you see, make the scene visible if you see the marker. And it's kind of weirdly written. It says if make it visible if the camera is visible, but really what this thing does is it makes the scene visible if the marker is visible. I think maybe somehow the camera the camera definitely gets connected to the marker. I'm not sure how, I'm not sure where, but that sure that this piece of code is what basically turns, because if you actually play with the project during these stages, if the marker isn't there, the scene goes away, and if it is, it shows up. So yeah. Okay guys, so well, I want to run a test really soon on our progress, but before I do that, there's kind of two things I need to take care of. One, well, I mean, let me just show you guys, I guess. So let me refresh this. It's kind of already showing what we did, but if you see, if we refresh it, some of our functionality is working, such as this thing is asking us permission to use our camera, which is good because we want the camera to be showing. Now I would say this about the camera. So in order for the camera to work, this thing needs to access camera parameters. And the thing about camera parameters is that it's a different file in the folder, and browsers have this security policy called cross core or cross origin or something, which basically kind of prevents HTML files or whatever from referencing well, at least in my case, I'm not sure the different situations that it prevents, but it prevented me from referencing this file, even though they're in the same directory. So you just have to figure out how to kind of disable that, or maybe you can host this somewhere. But I'm using Mozilla Firefox because I figured out how to disable it through Mozilla Firefox. You just need to search it up. So yeah. But anyway, so you can see we have two problems here. One, we see the camera over here, but this thing is black. Now, in order to fix that, it was kind of fixed before, but we broke it purposely, if you remember. We turned alpha to false so we can see the rendering, but now we're going to set alpha to true because we want it to be transparent. So we do that, we refresh the page, reloads the code, and you can see it's cool, and we're looking at my other monitor, so that's nice. And another problem is that we have this thing over here in the Three.js context is not a constructor, and that's really more of just me goofing up on the actual word. So K is supposed to be lowercase, so because I guess K is one word. So I'm sorry for the noise, guys. You know, I should probably be professional next time. But yeah, I'm not sure, it's hard for me to know the difference between a capital K and a lowercase k in here. So I'm just gonna change all of that. Okay, so yeah, I fixed all the capital K, lowercase stuff. Anyway, so we got all that stuff fixed. We can go ahead and test our stuff. So yeah, also one more thing I forgot to mention that I did behind the scenes. So also, even though you set your alpha to true, you do need to set this opacity to 0 so you can have that clear renderer. So when you allow your camera, that happens. Now for a moment of truth, bear with me guys, because my desk is kind of dirty, but actually let me zoom in as well, since I'm not being a size fanatic. So yeah, let's go with that. So when we go on the thing, we see this big blue blob, and we're just like, what is this? Well, this is the AR model, and you guys see I went to University of Maryland. Anyways, this is the I'm going to University of Maryland. I'm still a student. Anyways, this is the AR model that we are. I mean, the 3D model we are rendering. I keep saying AR. There it is, and it's rotating stuff. But it's so big. Why is it so big? Well, as I mentioned before, now that our camera, the Three.js camera, has become the camera on our machine, and basically the position of the scene itself is this Ar.js marker that's like the 0, 0 place. We're extremely close to the object we're overlaying, so it looks really, really big. So that's why we gotta deal with microscopic sizes now. So in order to do that, it's not really too much work. We want to go to where we made the text, which I'm looking for right now. We want to change this font size from 5 to maybe 0.5, and let's see how that goes. Save it. We refresh. Click allow. Okay, it seems better, but not so great. So let's go back. I don't know. If I can't find the right size, I'll just end up pausing it. So also we want to decrease this height. Let's decrease it. Let's try 0.1, 0.1. Okay. It's safe. I saw something that wasn't saved. Okay, yeah. And also depth should also be 0.1. I should have maybe set it, but let's see how it looks now. Okay. At this point, nothing's even showing up. Maybe it's too small. Let me fine tune these numbers and come back to you guys. Okay, guys. So, there's a little bug in my code. I put camera transformation matrix, but this is supposed to be camera transform matrix. So, yeah, camera transform matrix. And another thing, the sizes I set, or let me find it real quick. Really quick. So I put 0.5 for the size, 0.1 for the height, and 1 for the depth. And then all of that. Let's see how this thing works. Allow. Hopefully it works this time. Okay, let me see something. I might have made a mistake. Oh no, I forgot to save it. There you go. Refresh again. Let's see it now, and there you go. So we have this Black Lives Matter. If I can get to show up. This headphone stuff is causing some interference. So yeah, we have this thing. This Black Lives Matter AR thing, rotating about, doing its own thing. And as you can see right now, most of it is already done. You can look around it, and it's rotating with us. And honestly, I don't know. I might not do the triangle movement because the rotation thing kind of seems cooler. I don't know, but here it is. So, yeah. There's a little bit of some things I want to do just to make this look better. One main thing is to change the opacity of the material from 1 to 0.15. Let's see how that looks. So you see now we get that more realistic look. And this thing keeps cutting out. Get that more realistic look. It kind of looks like a hologram. So I think that's pretty cool. And yeah, honestly, I'm thinking about ending it here because the rotation definitely looks better than the triangle stuff. So, but I'm gonna show how to do the triangle stuff anyway, because that's what I promised you guys.